didn't maintain possession of the ball as he grounded it, so he bounced it basically, and that's what Tom Grant, the video referee, saw. I think he was absolutely spot on. I agree with it. Probably when Robin fans have watched it back afterwards, they agree with it too. And then from there on in, Huddersfield got themselves together, got it right, and were really impressive. But Hall's injury maybe had a part to play in Cudjoe and McGilvery absolutely romping down that right-hand side from then on in the game. I thought McGilvery's set up for Cudjoe's hat-trick try, was really good play. I think Cudjoe was good throughout, really good. Ricky Latelli was awesome. It's a shame he's picked up an injury. The Latelli injury, we don't know full details of yet, but it looks like a knee injury, and he was on crutches going out of the ground. So that'll be a worry for everyone but Toby King, I think.
Exactly. I think this is a statement game from Huddersfield. Like, this was great from them. I'm not saying. I think KR were actually pretty good in this game. They weren't easy beats, and I think Huddersfield really showed what they can do. And I mean, I watched this game and I thought to myself, maybe they're a real chance. Like, that's what my feeling came out of this game. Obviously, you know, like you said, it was a little bit easier down their right hand side with the injury there and what they came against. But I mean, they were just too good. I don't know what was going on with that short kickoff that KR did, but I found it quite hilarious. It bounced straight up into the now winger's hands.
They were unlucky a bit there, weren't they? Because they went for the element of surprise. Ben Crooks is very good in the air. He got to the ball, tapped it back. It's just everyone else seemed surprised as well.
It bounced exactly where if it bounced anywhere else, they would have probably got the ball back, but it bounced pretty much onto a rampaging, rampaging player just coming straight through. Like it, I just couldn't believe it. And I agree with you, Latelli, great. I just thought he was a great signing. When he left Cronulla, he was good, and he hasn't really he hasn't let them down. I think he's been quite good. So, and I mean, I think was that Cudjoe's first ever hat trick. I think they were saying on the coverage. So,
no, first hat trick since 2012.
Oh, okay.
First try of the season, first hat trick since 2012.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe Toby King is pretty happy that Latelli has gone down. Otherwise, he might not get another game this year.
No, Latelli has been awesome. I think there was so many things to be impressed with Huddersfield. Hawkeye didn't go away, but they never also really looked like they were going to mount a comeback after that try straight after half time from Luke Gates.
Yeah.
Because pretty much straight away the Giants scored again. They broke up the field really quickly and scored a couple more tries quite quickly off the back of that, and really took the game away, didn't they, from Hull KR? Yeah. Ethan Ryan made a great chase back on one of the breaks, though, didn't he? A great chase back when the scoreline was already, it was like the last 5 minutes of the game, 10 minutes of the game or something. So I'm glad that he had some positive numbers with the ball as well in terms of his effort, because that's the sort of stuff you can show to your team and say, that's what I want. We've lost, but this is what I want. I want you to show this level of desire and commitment and work for each other, and that's someone showing that, I think, there. So that deserves signal out for praise as well. But a little bit of mitigation for Hawkeye with the injuries. But one of the Wigan fans, I think it was Matt, said Toulouse was a potential banana skin. I don't think at home it was a potential banana skin, but this game against a mid-table Hull KR side that are very up and down inconsistent could have been a banana skin game for Huddersfield, and they didn't let it be. And that's what I think you were getting at, and that's what's impressive at this stage.
Yeah, I was just impressed with the way they just kept going. Like, they didn't. Yeah, and look, I think if KO put an effort in as Wakefield put in, it could have been 100. Like it. You know what I mean? Like, I think Huddersfield were probably better than what Salford were. But Look, I think the opposition did well to keep them to what they kept them to. Like it was one of those things. Like it's. I think that Huddersfield look really good. Let's see if they can do it against some of the bigger sides. I don't know if they can, but if they can put that effort in and they can put that, they can sort of do what they did in this game, then I think they would be doing really well.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say as well, it looked like Lachlan Coote was hobbling for a bit. Mikey Lewis was hobbling for most of the second half as well. Hull KR didn't get to show their best either, but Huddersfield really convincingly beat what was in front of them, and all the booing and refs faulting that was going on from the Hull KR fans. I think when they sit down in the cold light of day and review this game again, they'll think, fair enough, we got to beat him by a better side.
Yep.
Couple of bits of news related to this one. Hull KR have announced that utility Will Tate has signed a new 2-year contract extension, so hopefully he might get some chances in the first team after they've backed him with that new deal. And incoming Hull KR coach Willie Peters, possibly accidentally, I don't know, because it hasn't been officially confirmed, but he confirmed on a podcast appearance in Australia that 3 new signings from the NRL for the 2023 Super League season. So we don't know the details of the length of these deals, but Tom is it Opasic?
Opachik.
That's it. Tom Opachik, Reece, and he's one I've heard of. Reece Kennedy, who I've never heard of, and Suasu Su will join him next year at Craven Park. So what do you make of those 3 signings? Opachik has had a good level of game time. Su, I think, is a good signing, isn't he?
Yep. So Opachik, he's a Parramatta player. He plays in the reserve grade team. I got in a big Twitter battle at the start of this year when he was playing first team because I don't think he's that great a quality. But I think he would be good. I think it's good for KR. I think he'll suit them. He's just an honest kind of player. He's a good centre, fairly good defensively. I think he'll do really well over there. He just hasn't got the opportunity at Parramatta. He's not gonna make the first team without injuries like happened this year. Sue he's forward, pretty good impact player. He's kind of been around for a while. I think he'll do all right. Reece Kennedy's a fairly young as well. I think might be a front rower. I can't remember exactly. I think he's been around a few systems. I think they're interesting signings because they're all not high quality, or not high quality. They're not all like high profile kind of guys, but I think all of them are reasonably good. So,
and none of them are like end of the career guys either, are they? So
no, they're all. Yeah. I mean, Sue's closer to the end of his career than the other 2, but I think all 3 of them they're more young kind of fellas, which is really good. Like it's good to get these kind of guys in.
I'm sure Tom will be pleased to get your perspective on them, and it sounds like you think all of them have got the right sort of attitude, at least to certainly the 2 that you know a bit more about, Opachik and Sue, to succeed.
Reece Kennedy has been around for a while, and I think he was at the Broncos. I think he maybe came from the Broncos. He's not really a like first grader all the time. So, and he's not from my club, so I don't know a lot about him. But I feel like he's a fairly reasonable sized fella that likes to throw his weight around, so he might be good for them.
Good stuff. The final game of the weekend, I feel like I'm not going to be able to do this game justice, which is a real shame, but I tried to listen to it after the Hull KR game had finished, but there was no radio commentary links that I could find to it. And it was the last game of the week, so it's the last game to watch the highlights of, and it's the game I've not got to yet. But really exciting and a big win for Castleford over the Catalans Dragons. It was 6-6 at half time and it finished 17-16 after golden point extra time. Danny Richardson finally cutting through the wind to land a drop goal after there had been attempts by both sides there. It was the second period, I think, of golden point extra time that they managed to seal the win in. 6,510 there. Marcus Griffiths was the referee. Incomplete stats because a couple of Cas players keep being missing from the Super League website's numbers, which is a bit frustrating, but that's how it goes. What about the individuals we did have the numbers for? Do you want to tell us about the standout numbers?
Yeah, so for Cass, it was Daryl Olfitz with 1 try, 14 tackle busts and 197 metres. Berta Faramo, 202 metres. Chase Blair, 1 tackle, 178 metres. Mahe Whenua, 158 metres. For Catalans, it was Tom Davies with 257 metres. Ben Garcia with 50 tackles and 168 metres. Joe Chan with 163 metres. And Matt Whiteley with 47 tackles and 12 marker tackles.
Yeah, Fat Boy Rob said, much better defensively, but we still managed to concede 2 cheap close-range tries and a couple of the few Catalans attacks. To be honest, we should have wrapped this game up in normal time, but you can't beat a golden pointer. Good showings from Alford, Hampshire and Richardson. Truman was wank again. He can go to Hull now for me. Under the radar league pissing continues. Hashtag Coif.
EFC 78JU. The tackle got Catalans up to a good start to deny Castleford the opening until later on in the game. They go and do exactly what the Dragons had to respond with a try of their own, which they did. We just known there was going to be a battle for the win out there of these two in the jungle. Catalan went ahead in the second half, which they needed. It was that bad near the end. The Tigers scored and sent it to golden point.
Yeah, it was like there was never a wide margin in the scores, were there? Which is kind of
they kept going backwards and forwards
like AFC saying there. But that's all I followed was the actual scores. Game.
Yeah. It was going backwards and forwards, and it was to the point where they got to the end of the coverage of the previous game, and the panel show was talking about it, and it's 16-all, and this is the point where I kind of wish that Sky would have, someone could just put a little camera over there, and as they're doing the wrap up, they could go, just go across and just watch the last part of this game. I know it's probably not allowed and stuff like that, but it'd be fantastic if they could just, all right, well, we've finished this game, we've done our little wrap up. You got here's the final minutes of this game or some highlights, but they kept saying, oh, we're just waiting for a highlight. Kind of felt like, they
had the footage. They could see the footage. It's just for some reason or other they couldn't broadcast it. I'm not really sure what's stopping them under the way the broadcast deal set up, but maybe they'd have to pay someone something, and that's why
they want to pay.
Yeah, but in a way, though, that was the closest we got to actually following this, a combination of that and following what was going on through Twitter. And even that was difficult because the Catalan stuff's all in French, isn't it? So I had to keep translating their tweets because they were tweeting ahead of what Castleford were tweeting. So it was like, oh, what's going on? But it was interesting and exciting. I think the point really is that this is a big win for Cas. We've talked about they beat Saints at home, but really they didn't because it was Saints' reserves and part-timers. They had won their other games at home, but they hadn't really beaten any of the contenders or what have you, but they've snuck themselves into that playoffs. This because of other people's inconsistency just as much of their own. This win combined with a little bit of a couple of wins put together now back to back has come at a good time because it's come when Hull FC are injured because Jake Connor's injured. So it's helped and now enabled them to close the gap on them. And the battle in between themselves of that Warrington, Salford, Leeds, Wakefield group kind of means Castleford can sneak here in under the radar into the playoffs with even just a semi-strong back after the season. So this win really sets them up to move forward to say, look what we can do. We can compete with one of the top sides, a side that it wasn't like a super weakened Catalan side or anything.
Yeah, definitely. And these are the wins where if you're in that kind of fringe, if you're around the playoffs, at the bottom of the playoffs, if you can beat one of the top four, then, or the top three, as it probably is, who knows, top three or four, it's huge. Like it's massive for them because, you'd find that the other teams we're talking about, you KR and Hull FC and those, they're probably not going to get victories over the top four. So if you can get some of those, beat some of the opposition, I think they're looking quite good. This is a huge, huge thing for them to win this game.
Yeah, I agree. What they need to do now, obviously, they've got another tough game next week, what we'll get to later, Huddersfield, but they need to not then fall over themselves basically against one of the lower teams. They need to not have a surprise weak performance